Hi, my name is Bailey Knight, and today I'm going to be discussing with you all Moms Matters, which is a gender equity initiative that specializes in providing funding and support for low-income single mothers. So before I discuss with you all my initiative and my why and my what, I want to talk to you guys about the tax on single motherhood. Tax on single motherhood there are two taxes on single motherhood. It's economical and it's psychological. So this first quote here is a bit of research that I did on the psychological effects of the day-to-day life of being a single mother. Here it explains that according to the Brookings Institute, 32% of single mothers experience moderate or severe psychological distress compared to 19% of married mothers. Part of the mental health gap between single and married mothers is likely related to the psychological burden of living in poverty. This is really important to note because the rate of psychological distress that single mothers experience is double what married mothers experience, and it's likely triple to what men in general experience that are going through parenthood. So the psychological effects of single motherhood weighs heavy on mothers who are taking it on their own. Comparably, the economic struggle is incredibly similar. Here, via my research on the Center of American Progress, they state that among an estimated 7.3 million single mothers in the United States, 76% of them are working full-time. Makes sense, right? But they earn a median annual income of $40,000. Now, my initiative is specializing in extreme and severe cases of single motherhood tax. And so I decided that my initiative would primarily focus on Mississippi, which actually has the lowest annual median income for single mothers at $26,000 a year, which is astronomically low. Now, continuing on in my research, it explains that for single dads, the median income is 43% higher than single moms at $57,000. And for married moms, the percent is 50% higher at $60,000. And so this explains that either being a man or the mere presence of a man creates a level of gender inequity. And it creates a disparity in financials as well as psychological well-being, which is why I decided that my initiative needed to impact single mothers. Now, let's talk about the ins and outs. I decided to explain the ins and outs using a who, what, when, where, why, and how format because I think it's the simplest one that we can all understand and we're all incredibly familiar with. So let's talk about the what. Moms Matter will provide single mothers in Mississippi with a $500 monthly direct deposit payment. Direct deposit is key here, and it's incredibly important because typically other government-funded programs we see, for example, like SNAP, are specifically aimed at only allowing financials to be extended or provided to people of low income for specific needs. But I do not want to limit the things that these mothers can use this money for. I want these mothers to be able to use this money on gas, which is incredibly important. You need gas to put in your car. I want them to be able to use the money for food, which is, of course, mandatory. I want the mothers to be able to put this money towards their schooling if they're looking to do educational advancement if necessary. I want these mothers to be able to put the money towards psychological services like therapy for themselves and their children. And more importantly and overarchingly than anything, I want these mothers to be able to use this money for household bills, which is something that we don't see a lot of government assistance for. And it creates the most amount of stress because shelter is one of the absolute basic needs. Let's talk about my why. My why is by providing these mothers, single mothers in Mississippi who are used to making only an average of only $26,000 a year, with $500 direct deposit payment, my hope is to be able to alleviate the financial stress and burden placed on them and thereby supporting their mental well-being. This will also decrease the wealth disparity between single mothers and single fathers or men in general, which is going to help with the gender inequity. which is why my program is an equitable initiative. This will be funded during its startup phase via the Women's Foundation of Mississippi grants, which provides state grants to initiatives hoping to help women and support women in need. They provide major grants for women in the millions, and I think this is going to be a great startup finance project. And where? Which I've already explained, but I want to start small. Eventually, I would love this initiative to go federal. So I wanted to end this, because this is Psychology of Gender, discussing the psychological perspective and the psychological backing behind Moms Matter. So Moms Matter is created with the effort of encouraging upward mobility, which cannot be done without a foundation of basic need fulfillment. Now, how do I know this? I know this because of Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which posits that people must satisfy lower level basic needs before progressing to higher level growth needs. In order for single mothers to grow via the advancement of education and career, as well as an environment placing their children in more safe, stable areas, and fulfilling their children's wants and needs and desires, for example, like putting their children in local sports, recreational activities, and beginning to fund their children's college education, they have to be able to take care of their basic needs, which are food, shelter, clothing, and we can't forget healthcare. And so that's why my initiative, Moms Matter, is so important, and the psychological backing behind it. Thank you.